Right, awesome. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on behalf of the Maine Prevention Certification Board. Um, we really want to thank everyone for taking a little bit of uh, unscheduled time out of your day to join us in celebrating our 2025 Prevention Award winners. I'm Kristen Erickson, for those who don't know me. I'm the current co-chair on the Maine Prevention Certification Board, and I also represent the New England PTTC and the co-occurring collaborative Serving Maine. So without too much further ado, I won't take up too much time. I just want to again thank you all for joining us today to celebrate our award winners and just to celebrate prevention and the good work that our prevention professionals in this room and elsewhere are doing in Maine every day. The work can be challenging at times, but it's also a lot of fun and there can be a lot of joy in it. So it's nice to take these moments when we have them to celebrate together, I think. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the first Neill Minor Award winner, Sally Manninen from the Choose to Be Healthy Coalition, to share a little bit about the awards and what that means, and to introduce our next speaker. So thank you, Sally, for being here.
Sure. Thank you for having me be a part of this. This is really nice, and it's a shame that not everybody on this Zoom, including our awardee for this year, had the honor to know Neill Minor. I just want to tell you briefly a little bit about Neill. Um, he was a lovely man. He was a gentleman. He was very passionate about this work. And he was really good at bringing us all together and being very inclusive. Before that was a word that was thrown around so often the way it is now. He was the director of the substance use, whatever it was called back then, office of something, SAMS in Maine. He was one of the founding directors of the New England Institute of Addiction Studies, which I always used to go to that conference when I worked in Massachusetts. I didn't know Neill then. And he was a founding director of the EdCare Educational Institute in Maine. He got the state of Maine all sorts of grants funding. He's the reason, I believe, Scott can correct me if I'm wrong, that we have SERP, because he wrote a SAMHSA grant that was very innovative to get us SERP. He was really soft-spoken. He was a lovely gentleman. He was very professional. He had a master's of social work background, I think, and you could really tell because he was super chill, super easy to get along with. Um, Outdoor guy, family guy, and he would have really liked you, Will. I'm getting misty thinking about it. He would have thought you were awesome, and it's really too bad that you didn't get to meet him. The Neill Minor Memorial Prevention Award recognizes an individual who has made a significant contribution in the field of prevention and recognizes someone who has deep commitment and broad understanding for health promotion and disease prevention. And as I said, I think you're the perfect choice for many reasons, which we'll hear about from your director, Katie McDonald. But I'm pretty certain that Neill would approve of you being the award winner this year. So now to speak more to that point, Katie McDonald, the director of Healthy Lincoln County.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to recognize Will Matson as this year's Aspiring Leader in Prevention Award recipient. I have had the pleasure of working with Will for almost 2 years now, and he has been an incredible support both to me personally as I stepped into a new role and to our organization during some pretty challenging moments. There have been some times where things felt uncertain or honestly a little chaotic, and Will has stayed the course. Unlike me, Will does not get rattled easily. He is thoughtful and steady and always thinking a few steps ahead. He's been the driving force behind our substance use prevention work and the vision of our new mobile outreach program, helping shape something that actually reflects what our community needs. Will came into this work without a traditional public health background, but in just a few years, he's become someone our entire community turns to. Schools rely on him for honest, thoughtful conversations with students. Partners call them when they need guidance or clarity. Communities trust him to show up, whether that's for prevention education or Narcan trainings in places that don't always have easy access to those resources. And he always shows up prepared, steady, and grounded. Um, but what always stands out to me most is how he does the work. He listens before jumping in. He takes time to understand where people are coming from. And even in challenging conversations, he brings a level of calm and respect that puts people at ease. There's no ego in it. He genuinely cares and about getting it right and supporting the people around him. As roles have shifted and funding has changed, Will has become a real source of consistency for our team and for our partners, the kind of person that you can count on, and that matters more than anything. Will, the work you've done has strengthened relationships across Lincoln County, expanded access to important and life-saving resources, and helped build a more connected and compassionate community. I'm very lucky to work alongside you, and very grateful for everything you bring to this work. Congratulations, it is well deserved.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm honestly just a little overwhelmed at the moment. Thank you so much. It's an honor to receive this award, but just to hear such kind words from Katie and from all of you out there in the prevention world and the whole team here at HLC. As Katie mentioned, I stepped into this work just a few years ago, and honestly, it feels like a blur. In some ways, it feels like just yesterday, and it's been such an honor and a privilege to really have the opportunity to slow my life down a little bit and learn about this work, this field. I feel so grateful to have found my way to prevention. I didn't know that I was looking for this job until I saw it and applied for it and started meeting people and just trying my hand at it. And I am just so grateful to be part of this world. I know that any accomplishments I've had are have been in terms of connecting with other people and connecting with all of you on this call. We have such a great community here of people that care about just strengthening our bonds as a society. And I think that's what it's all about, is listening with respect and just trying to make the most of whatever situation we're in at the moment. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the team here at Healthy Lincoln County. We've just got an incredible vibe, and it's felt like home ever since the day that I've been here. And I really just can't say enough about this team and the community, not just our team at HLC, but the whole statewide community of folks here in the prevention world, all of our great partners in schools, some of our great partners in law enforcement and the business community. Really, prevention is about working with all of those different types of people and just showing up every day. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. So thankful. I'm thankful for all of you. And I really appreciate this recognition. It means more than I can say. I'm sorry, I feel like I should have brought the actual award. It was very beautiful and heavy, it's sitting at my house because I was showing it off to my wife the other day. But really, I'm very grateful, and I feel like I don't know what else to say, but I'm just so thankful for this, and appreciate all of you. Thanks so much.
That was awesome, Will, and reminded me of one of the things I wanted to say about you. I thought if I was going to be speaking about you, I'll just say real quickly, is that when I first met you, I think was at that MPHA conference, I just thought, wow, that guy's brand new and he knows how to explain our work so well. You know how to explain this field, and you have such a lovely manner about you, and that's one of the reasons I said that Neill would have really liked you, because that's how he was. So Thank you for being in this field in Maine. I've enjoyed working with you. And so now I get to introduce Scott. And uh-oh, where's my piece of paper that tells me Scott's new title? I got to get it right because Scott, I met Scott a long time ago when I first started working in Maine, and he and Neill, who he used to work with, were so welcoming and fun to work with, and nice to work with, and collaborative. And so it's super that he's here today. But his new title, now that he's doing things out on his own and in different states and maybe different countries soon, Scott Gagnier is the founder and lead consultant for Dirigo Empowerment Institute. That's a really good name. And he's the former director of Ad Care, now Adept, Maine. And he's the recipient of the 2024 Neill Minor Award. Scott, take it away.
All right, thank you, Sally, and hello, everyone. So just a couple of things about Neill, and so one of the things is people may know is I follow Neill as director of Ad Care, and as you may notice, one of the job requirements seems to be to have a beard. Although I guess we broke that trend, didn't we, Aaron? So I'm pleased to be here to recognize this year's Neill Minor Award, which is Aaron Burnett, and it's really fitting. Although she should have won it last year because I nominated her last year, but she went ahead and nominated me instead. But so I guess the one thing I was jealous of with Neill is the one that hired Aaron into AdCare. When I came on board, I think had been just a few months into her role, and one of the things that really stood out to me right away is I recognized, the leadership qualities that she had really in the very first meeting, and really enjoyed to get to work with her over 9 years. So it's really very fitting for her to be receiving the Neil Minor Award this year. One thing about AdCare when I came on is she was the prevention unit for AdCare. Half of her job was in prevention. It was a very, very small program. But it was really thanks to her leadership that we were able to build it to where it's now 5, 6 FTEs. So it's such a really huge, impressive training program at AdCare. She's really been able to grow a lot of things at AdCare in New England with prevention. When we brought the PTTC to AdCare, started as a coordinator, quickly worked up to being a co-director and now director of the program, has really done an amazing job of growing the program there. A lot of great accomplishments to her career so far. One of the things that she co-led at PTDC was sort of the redevelopment of the SAPS trainings and the ethics trainings, co-chairing lots of different groups. But some of my favorite things were when she let me push her outside of some comfort zones. When I came on, she didn't want to have anything to do with public speaking, but I put her out in front of 1,200 people to present a prevention award to Vicki Wigman, who's with us today. And as I knew, she did an amazing job with that. And from there, she's just grown. Erin has always been about taking on responsibilities, developing her own leadership skills and whatnot. And so, like from the very beginning, she's all been about supporting the prevention workforce, doing that work that needs to be done to move us forward. And when I think of some of her qualities, poise, which is a really hard thing you can't really teach. It's just something you kind of have. And so, her drive and her commitment to the workforce. And I just gotta say, stepping up and when I made the very wise decision to leave AdCare to federal service, to step forward and to lead the agency forward, and just has been doing amazing work. It's been fun to watch everything you've been doing from this vantage point. So I can't say enough. I definitely miss working with her. She was a great partner. And I'm very happy to congratulate Aaron and being this year's recipient for the Neil Minor Award. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Scott. I do have my award here. I don't dare take it home with a toddler and a new baby on the way, but it is here. And it's beautiful. And thank you for nominating me. I was lucky enough to get to work with Neill. He hired me, he believed in me, and he quickly taught me a lot about just what it's like to be a very supportive leader. And I appreciated the way he was quiet in his leadership, and he wasn't overbearing, he did not micromanage, and he taught me a new way of seeing how a director operates. And so I am just very grateful that I got that short amount of time with him. And I'm also grateful that he hired Scott in the role as the next director. I did learn a lot from Scott. He was my mentor for 9 years before he left us for other opportunities. But I'm also grateful for folks who are on the call, like Sally and Vicky and Emily Dooling Hamilton, who were around when I started in the prevention field, and I learned a lot from. I'll always be grateful for starting out, as a one-person team member for AdCare, getting to support the main prevention workforce. So I learned a lot from you all. I appreciate all of you and love to see that you're all still around despite a lot of changes over the last 16 years. Well, I've been in Maine 16 years, and a lot has changed since I first moved here. So yeah, I could go on and on and on, but ultimately just thank you to everyone. I wouldn't be here without the support of all of the great folks like you who work in prevention and who keep at it. I love directing here at Adept Educational and continuing to support not only my team here, but all the many different programs that do focus on prevention, but across the continuum of care. I believe in public health, I believe in the work that we do, and it's just amazing to know that there are such great hearts and human beings out there doing the work too. So thank you for sticking around. I know this is supposed to be about my award, but I just want to make it about you. And how grateful I am to each and every one of you. So thank you. And I don't know who's next on the agenda. I apologize.
So before, I think Scott is next on the agenda, but before Scott says something, I just want to clarify, but remember, I am old. I combined the awards. There is the Neill Minor Award winner, and there is the Aspiring Inspiring Leader Award, and that is Will. And I apologize. I kind of combined them in my head and in my speech. But that's one of the reasons I'm retiring, because I get confused very easily these days. So I'll be quiet now.
Well, I think that's actually what we wanted to end with. We wanted to take some of the last few minutes to recognize you, Sally, as you are getting ready to head in retirement. As I think we mentioned, Sally, you're the first recipient of the Neill Minor Award, and I still remember I was sharing this before we went on. For folks who don't know, we is actually I just want to plug them as actually Christine Terrio and Cheryl Sotowski who came up with the idea of this award, and then tasked AdCare with kind of putting it together. And we wanted to be able to honor Neill after he passed, and so we put it out there, and it was really, I think, very fitting that Sally was the first recipient, and so. As you mentioned at the beginning, we met. Oh, I'm celebrating my 20th year in the field, and so I think it was 20 years ago. I met you at it might have been a United Way in York County. I was working on a
Yep, that's where
Spiff
it was.
Sig Spiff Sig
You were a
project.
data nerd. You identified yourself as a data nerd. And I said, oh, I love data too.
But honestly, not, and Aaron, you'll appreciate this, not a public speaker, because I remember when I did my first big presentation, my manager followed up with me the day later. It's like, you're not very comfortable up there, are you? So, um, but no, I just have to, thank you for the many years of partnership and collaboration. I mean, it's your fault I became the marijuana guy because you introduced me to
That's right.
Kevin Sabet.
Because I
So
didn't want to be the marijuana lady, and I said,
I
"Oh, I know somebody who'd be much better."
yeah. So I have to thank you, I guess, for that. I'm not sure. But and just really, you've always been a very strong advocate. I mean, we've done a lot together in sort of the marijuana prevention space, but also just your commitment to for all of us who are in the DFCs, keeping us collaborating and networking and working together. And Maine's a big state, but a small state, and I think you're just a great example of leading by example in terms of how we can work together. We have different aspects to the communities that we're working in, but we're all kind of on the same mission and sharing ideas, sharing resources, bringing Sioux and other people into the state to help us out. Just you've been a tremendous champion of prevention for the state, and so I just want to congratulate you
Thank you.
and thank you again for personally. Thank you for many years
Oh, thanks,
of
Scott.
collaboration and partnership, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
And if you get bored, I can find you stuff to do. So
I
bring
hope
you
I
to New
don't get
Mexico.
bored. Thank you, everybody. I'll just say that, as corny as it sounds, it's because of the people that you collaborate and work with and get to know a little bit that your job becomes bearable, fun, even rewarding. And you all represent some folks and are some folks. You don't represent folks. That's a weird thing to say. You are many of the people that I have enjoyed working with for many, many years in Maine, and I will miss seeing you. And remember, the work is mysterious, but it's very important. So get good at public speaking. Congratulations to Will and Aaron, and thank you for all you do. And I'm just going to say bye and remind you, Ryan would like me to remind everybody to nominate your peers for the 2026 awards. And those are due soon, June 15th. And Ryan's going to share some links. Ryan, you're a doll. Aaron, you're a peach. And who else have I known forever? Holly, I was just telling them, and Kim Parent. These guys have been working behind the scenes for so long, making our job so much easier. And Scott before that. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you again for joining us today on behalf of the Maine Prevention Certification Board, and hope to see you all again soon at an upcoming webinar, program, virtual event. Thank you all so much. Have a great afternoon.
Take care, everybody.